What is going on, Pats Nation? It's Patriots Global here, back with another video, and in this one, we're going to be talking about Desmond King and how the New England Patriots could potentially be targeting him in free agency. I've even heard things to go as far as the Patriots are interested in him. They're one of a few teams actually interested in signing him this offseason. And I think cornerback is actually a pretty controversy when it comes to kind of cornerback and the Patriots. You hear a lot of people saying, is cornerback a need for the Patriots or is it not a need for the Patriots? I personally think, look, if Stephon Gilmore's out, we need to add some depth to cornerback no matter what. We definitely need to find a number one guy because I don't think J.C. Jackson, at least right now, is a number one guy based off of what we've seen. So I do think that this would make a ton of sense. I do want to quickly remind you guys, though, if you haven't already, go ahead and check out my Patreon. For $10 a month, you guys can get multiple weekly uploads exclusive only to Patreon, meaning that these are videos you can only see through Patreon. I mean, I've already uploaded a couple videos, on what can the Patriots do with Stephon Gilmore, benefits of re-signing Cam Newton, and a couple of others that you guys can go ahead and check out. You guys can also get added to a Discord only with Patreon members, with me and other Patriots fans, where we talk about life and just the Patriots and moves and all of that great stuff. And you also get exclusive link to weekly live streams only for Patreon members. There's a link in the description below, also pinned in the first comment if you guys are interested. Now, a little bit about King here. He was a 5th round selection back in 2017 by the Los Angeles Chargers. I'm sure you guys have heard of him before. He quickly became a contributor there with the Chargers before he was dealt to the Tennessee Titans this past season during the trade deadline. Now, during King's 4 NFL seasons, he's brought together 243 tackles, 16 for a loss, 14 quarterback hits, 4 interceptions, 19 pass deflections, and 2 forced fumbles. This past year for the Chargers and the Titans, King totaled up 55 total tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 2 quarterback hits, 2 pass deflections, and a fumble recovery, which one was returned for a defensive touchdown. So he's a guy that is pretty versatile too. He's someone that Bill Belichick could have rush the quarterback, kind of have those cornerback blitzes that Belichick really likes to do. We've seen Belichick do this a lot with Patrick Chung. We see him do it a good amount also with rookie Kyle Duggar this past season. King also did have 2 punt returns for a touchdown as well, so he brings versatility to special teams also, which I'm sure Bill loves. The Patriots do have Gunnar Olszewski at punt returner, so it's not as much of a need as years prior, but you always add depth where you can. If the Patriots did sign him, he would bring versatility, physicality, and much needed depth that I think a lot of Patriots fans will realize that we need if Stephon Gilmore is let go. You look at the future of this cornerback group and you're kind of wondering what's going to happen with Gilmore, what's going to happen with J.C. Jackson. Soon enough, we'll be talking about Jonathan Jones again. Now, King would also be a pretty nice addition by the Patriots. He wouldn't just be a no-name signing at all. He wouldn't even be a mid-tier signing. He's actually one of the top cornerbacks available during free agency this upcoming March. So it would make a ton of sense that the Patriots could potentially be looking into him if Stephon Gilmore is dealt. Now, King is a guy who I think could really fit into the Patriots' defensive scheme. He's a physical cornerback who the Patriots, love. The Patriots love physical players, especially at the cornerback position. He's a guy that brings versatility to the cornerback position, being able to play inside or outside, and also plays excellently in the slot. In fact, coming into the NFL, King is still just about being the best graded cornerback when it comes to playing in the slot. Now, according to PFF, 2020 was actually one of his worst seasons, at least the way that they graded him. So this could potentially be a bargain deal, especially with the amount of teams that are in negative cap and will have to look to just make a plethora of roster moves just to get back to zero. The Patriots could potentially get a good deal for Desmond King, Let's remember that Stephon Gilmore was a guy who was not playing well in Buffalo and hit the free agency market, and the Patriots picked him up. PFF actually ranked him as the 40th best cornerback in the NFL in 2020 and received an overall grade of 67. Now, that doesn't sound good, but hear this part. In the past, he's ranked as the 29th best cornerback, the 2nd best cornerback, and the 8th best cornerback. He performed really well with the Chargers, and then he got dealt to the Titans and just didn't play as well. So maybe it was the switch to the Titans, maybe it was the scheme and the franchise that he just didn't really play for. I think that he'd be a much better fit with New England. I think New England's scheme matches much more with the Chargers defensively than it does the Titans. Now, King is also still very young. He's 26 years old, but he's also not going to give you that ideal height. Although he can play on the outside or the inside, he is 5'10", so the inside is probably why, due to height reasons, why he's excelled more playing in the slot. I mean, that's very different compared to the 6'1" height that Stephon Gilmore brings. I do think that Desmond King would definitely be a spectacular pickup by Bill Belichick, would be a spectacular addition for the New England Patriots defense, not just now, but also for the long term. Again, also not knowing what's going to happen with Jonathan Jones within a couple of years, right? But what I definitely believe that Desmond King would not bring to the Patriots is that replacement for Stephon Gilmore. You don't get Desmond King and he automatically becomes your number one corner. Now, does he have the potential to maybe become a number one corner? For sure. Let's, again, look at where he's ranked in the past years. Although he was ranked at 40 this past year, he's been ranked at 2, at 8 in the past. So he's someone that for sure has the talent. But what if, let's say, J.C. Jackson does get thrown into that starting role at being your number one corner? Desmond King could very well be a good number 2 corner for the Patriots. King is definitely a really good tackler, which is something that the Patriots could always use on defense. Any defense could use that, but he's very raw. There's some inconsistency with him, but that big word raw is what I would say comes back to him when I see his tape. Year in and year out, it's just he needs to work with a good coach, a defensive coach who can really tap into his potential. It's 100% there. We have seen that with the Chargers. A team just has to take advantage of it. And again, at just 26 years old, he has so much time, so much left in him in the NFL that he could really become something special within a couple of years. For sure, hands down, no doubt in my mind about it. Like I did say, though, this would not be, at least in my mind, the answer if Stephon Gilmore is shipped off. I think if you're looking for that replacement for Stephon Gilmore, you have to look at a Patrick Peterson. You have to look at a Richard Sherman. You have to look at someone who can truly take over as your number one guy. If you're going to replace Stephon Gilmore, Desmond King more than likely is not going to be that guy for you, but can still be a very, very nice piece, both now and the future for New England. Real quick, y'all, I do want to talk about my boys over at BetOnline. Now, BetOnline has the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your sports action. As we all know, football is sadly over, but NBA, college basketball, and the NHL are all a full swing. BetOnline even covers awards, TV shows, and reality TV. They also have real-time updated odds and props on almost anything that you could possibly imagine. BetOnline has you covered for all the news, scores, and odds. It's the best way to place your bets, and it's completely free to sign up. All you have to do is head to the website or use your mobile device and sign up today to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. Y'all, BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. Do not sit on the sidelines anymore. Get in with the action. Don't forget to use that promo code CLNS50 for your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. What are your guys' thoughts, though, on Desmond King? Would he be an addition you guys would like to have? Would he be an addition you're like, no, I'm going to stay away from? For me, I would completely be open to it. Again, I think he'd be good help for the Patriots, both currently in the present, but also in the future. I'd give him a multi-year contract. For me, it all just comes down to what type of pay is he looking for. I'm not going to give him $10 million a year, coming off of the season he had. So what are your guys' thoughts on this, though? Let me know in the comment section below. Remember to give this video a big thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And consider joining Patreon for exclusive content you can't find anywhere else. Like always, thank you all so much for watching. And I'll catch you in the next one.
Astroworld.